And I'll just tell you about diversity in the workforce. And some of you have heard the story, so I won't go through the whole thing. But when I was in 10th grade, I had a teacher that had a huge impact in my life, and he was African American. And he encouraged me to take a class called Black History when I was in 10th grade. And I was the only white person in the class. And it changed my life forever. I won't go into all the other details I've talked about, but that was because there was a gentleman who took the time to spend time with me, and he didn't look like me, and it was good. I got a chance to talk to somebody from a different perspective, and I always think it's better to put yourself in someone else's place once in a while, and I think I had an opportunity to do that for a year. And even though I was only a 10th grader, it really changed my life. Did anyone else want to share? Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give an example of, and I've been telling this to anybody that will listen. In 2017, Hammond High School won a national award, School of Opportunity. And they won that because from the 6-year or 7-year period, 2010 to 2016, they significantly increased graduation rates for marginalized students. African American graduation rate went from 80% to 92%. Latino graduation rate went from 81% to 95%, and special education went from 56 to 80%. They did homework clubs for English language learners. They did workshops for kids who wanted to join more advanced classes, GT and AP classes. The staff realized that they were not putting kids in these different demographics into the accelerated classes, and they made a concerted effort to do that. And so, yeah, some of these things cost a little bit more money to do these homework clubs or whatever, but a school bus costs $68,000 a year. So, let's do things where we're not pulling kids from their neighborhood schools. Let's not move low-income kids to a school that's 3 schools away so that their parents can't pick them up after-school activities. Let's not redistrict kids from an undercapacity school who are a higher income student, and then the result is they're going to private school. You're just defeating your purpose all the way around. But look at what we're doing. And, I paid attention to this because I saw the increase in special education, and so many students with IEPs do not get placed in GT classes even though they have the ability. One of the things that Hammond High School did was for their English language learners and their special education students, they put them in co-taught classes who had teachers who understood what the disability or the language to help them along. I had a teacher reach out to me many years ago who had a student from Africa speaking a language that they didn't have an interpreter for in that particular school. The teacher couldn't communicate with the student couldn't communicate with the teacher. We asked, well, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm just passing her. And it's heartbreaking, So let's learn from our wins and not just rely on things that the county council didn't, they allowed developers to pay a fee in lieu instead of, adding moderate income housing to an area and then not having that diversity as a result.
Yep. Good.
And let's not forget, emotional intelligence is sometimes more important than IQ and pure intelligence. And what you're describing, Barb, and Alan, your personal experience speaks to me more about emotional intelligence and equipping our young adults for success in their future in that respect than simply a discrete standardized test score or a graduation rate. What's the old saying? An IQ will get you a job, but lack of EQ will get you fired pretty quick. Diversity, to me, that's what it's really about. It's not just about metrics and do we have 20% here and 15% here. It's what are our students and our staff really doing when we have diversity, whether it's ethnic, whether it's racial, whether it's religious or socioeconomic. I think the biggest challenge for our schools is the undercurrent of socioeconomic diversity that we're experiencing, particularly in select pockets in this county. It's a challenge, and it's going unfunded. Those barriers that you talked about, they're talked about, but they're not there. The resources to address them are not being provided. One of the resources, and Barb, I'm glad you mentioned it, are students themselves. There are some great programs that don't cost the county a dime, where we can tap into the expertise that our students have. National Honor Society is coming down from the high schools and working with students at the middle school level, beyond the school day or beyond the school week even. Those Honor Society students, they need hours to maintain their membership. Tap into them. You know, I'm sure there's programs that you described, Barb, at Hammond, utilize students as much as they utilize staff.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a
Great
lot.
point.
Did you want to say anything, Tara?
Just to close out the diversity discussion, I think sometimes, what gets lost in this is that Howard County is a diverse school system. It is a national model for diversity and inclusion. When we talk about the different races and how we all live together in communities, it's something we're proud about. And so I think on the one hand, you cannot compare, can't say that we're a national model for diversity and inclusion, and then on the other hand say that we're segregated. Could we be better in certain aspects of diversity? Yes, like socioeconomic diversity as measured by the farm student percentages at schools. Of course we could be better, but when you're doing so well in certain areas, do you just shake it all up through a redistricting that at one point was going to move 9,000 kids? One of the iterations of the plan was going to move 9,000 kids to get little to, I would say, no gain? Probably not. And so I think what happened in that situation is what's happening a lot in the school system now is things are just becoming very politicized. There's a national conversation about school segregation, which is the reality in certain cities like, Baltimore City, or you talk about Chicago or other cities. But Howard County is different from those. And we cannot just, jump on the train of a national conversation because it sounds cool and popular. We need to look at the evidence, what is going on in our county, and make decisions for the best interest of our community.